Flourish always believed she had the perfect marriage. Peter was charming, respectful, and everyone around them said they were the couple made in heaven. But that night, when her phone buzzed beside her and she saw an unfamiliar name flash on Peter's screen, something in her heart told her to look. She hesitated. She'd never gone through his phone before. But curiosity and that small voice of warning inside her wouldn't let her rest. What she saw that night didn't just break her heart, it changed her life forever. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment where you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels.
Flourish was a beautiful woman who lived in Abuja. She was smart, calm, and very hardworking. After her father died, she became the boss of his big company. Everyone respected her. She dressed neatly every day, spoke softly, and always smiled. People thought her life was perfect. Flourish's husband, Peter, was also good-looking. He fixed phones for people and had a small but busy shop in town. He was tall, always wore nice shirts, and had a sweet voice that made people trust him easily. When Flourish married him, everyone said, "She's lucky. That man will treat her well forever." For a while, it really looked that way. Peter helped her laugh again after her father's death. He made her breakfast sometimes, sent her loving messages, and told everyone how proud he was of his wife. Flourish believed she had found true love. But slowly, small things began to change. Peter started taking calls in secret. He began locking his phone with a password. Sometimes, late at night, Flourish would wake up and find him on the balcony, whispering on the phone. When she asked who he was talking to, he would smile and say, "Just a customer, my love." At first, Flourish didn't think too much about it. She told herself, maybe he's just busy, maybe I'm overthinking. But the quiet feeling inside her chest didn't go away. It was small, but it was sharp, like a needle poking her heart. Then came Dennis, their housemaid. She was only 25, shy at first, and always eager to please. Flourish trusted her and treated her kindly. Dennis helped with cleaning, cooking, and arranging Flourish's clothes. Peter also treated her kindly, maybe too kindly. Sometimes, Flourish would enter the sitting room and find them laughing quietly. Dennis's voice would change when she spoke to Peter, soft and playful. Flourish tried to ignore it, but deep down, something didn't feel right. One evening, Flourish saw something that made her heart skip. Peter was sitting close to Dennis, showing her something on his phone. Their heads were almost touching. When he noticed Flourish standing at the door, he jumped up quickly and said, "Oh, we were just checking a funny video." Flourish smiled politely, but inside, a storm was beginning to grow. That night, as Peter slept peacefully beside her, she looked at his phone lying on the table. Her hand almost reached for it, but she stopped herself. "No," she whispered to herself. "Good wives trust their husbands." Weeks passed, and Flourish's house still looked peaceful from the outside. The big white walls, shiny cars, and the smell of fresh flowers in the yard made everyone believe her life was perfect. But Flourish knew something was changing behind those walls. Peter had become secretive. He started coming home late and always said work was busy. Sometimes he would smile at his phone and quickly turn it face down when she walked into the room. Flourish tried not to act jealous. She told herself, maybe I'm just being silly. Peter loves me. But one day, she saw a red lipstick mark on his shirt collar. Her heart beat fast. She walked closer and asked softly, "Peter, what is this?" He laughed. "Ah, that? It must be from one of my customers at the shop. You know how they hug carelessly." Flourish smiled weakly and walked away, but her mind refused to rest. Later that week, she noticed something new. Dennis, the housemaid, started dressing differently. She now wore tight tops and short skirts when Peter was home. She had started using bright lipstick too. Flourish found it strange. Once, she entered the kitchen and saw Dennis giggling while talking to Peter. When they noticed her, they both went quiet. Peter quickly said, "I was just telling her how to download music on her phone." Flourish's chest tightened. Something was definitely wrong. That night, Flourish called her best friend Deuce. "Deuce," she said quietly, "I think something strange is happening in my house." "What do you mean?" Deuce asked. "I feel like Peter and Dennis are hiding something from me." "Then stop guessing," Deuce replied. "Check his phone. The truth is always in the phone." Flourish laughed nervously. "I can't do that. I'm not that kind of wife." Deuce sighed. "Sometimes, Flourish, love can make you blind. Just be careful." After the call, Flourish couldn't sleep. The clock ticked slowly through the night. She turned on her side and looked at Peter. He was sleeping soundly. His phone beside him. The blue light blinked once, then again. Her heart pounded. Her hand almost reached for it, but she stopped herself. "No," she whispered to herself. "Not tonight."
The next day, Flourish woke up in the middle of the night. The room was dark, and the only sound was the slow ticking of the wall clock. She turned her head. The space beside her on the bed was empty. Peter wasn't there. She sat up slowly, her heart already beating fast. Then she heard a soft voice coming from the balcony. She walked quietly and stopped behind the curtain. Peter was standing outside, talking on the phone. His voice was low, almost like a whisper. Yes, I've spoken to him," he said. "She doesn't suspect anything yet. Just a few more days." Flourish froze. She? Was he talking about her? Her breath caught as she pressed her ear closer. "No, she trusts me completely," Peter continued. "Once she signs those papers, everything will be ready. You just have to make sure David doesn't mess this up." "David? The house help?" Flourish stepped back, her hands shaking. She didn't understand what she had just heard, but she knew it wasn't good. When Peter came back inside, she quickly lay down and pretended to be asleep. He kissed her forehead softly and whispered, "Sweet dreams, love." But Flourish's eyes stayed open in the darkness. There would be no sweet dreams tonight. The next morning, she watched Peter carefully. He acted normal, smiling, joking, talking about business. David served them breakfast quietly, not meeting her eyes. When their hands touched by accident, Flourish noticed David flinch a little, as if scared. Something was wrong, very wrong. Later that afternoon, when Peter went out, Flourish called Dosi. "Dosi," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. "I heard Peter talking to the phone last night. I think he's planning something behind my back." "Did he say what?" Dosi asked quickly. "Something about papers and about David. He said I would sign something soon." Dosi was silent for a moment. Then she said quietly, "Flourish, listen to me. Don't confront him yet. Just act normal, but if you get the chance, check his phone." Flourish closed her eyes. She remembered that blue light blinking every night. She had ignored it for too long. That evening, Peter left his phone on the couch while taking a shower. Flourish stared at it from across the room. Her heart pounded like a drum. She walked slowly toward it. Her hands were trembling. She pressed the side button. The screen came on. Enter passcode. Flourish sighed in frustration. She tried his birthday. It didn't work. She tried her own birthday. Wrong again. Then she remembered something. Peter's favorite number. 2205. She typed it in. Click. It opened. Her eyes widened as message after message appeared on the screen. The first chat she opened was with someone saved as Agent K. She began to read, and what she saw next made her legs go weak. Flourish's fingers shook as she scrolled through Peter's phone. Each message felt like a small cut to her heart. The first chat was between Peter and someone saved as Agent K. Agent K. We must move fast. Once she signs, the land becomes yours. Don't worry, she trusts me. She won't even read the papers. And the maid? Does he know what to do? Dennis will handle her if she gets suspicious. Flourish covered her mouth with her hand. Dennis too? She scrolled further. There were voice notes, pictures of property papers, and even a photo of her late father's signature, forged. Her chest felt tight. She could hardly breathe. The man she loved was planning to steal from her, maybe even harm her. Then she saw a chat with Dennis. The messages made her heart break even more. Peter, don't forget to mix it into her tea tomorrow. Dennis, sir, are you sure it is safe? Peter, it will only make her weak, not dead. I just need her to rest while I finish everything. Flourish's hands turned cold. She almost dropped the phone. She now understood what the papers meant. Peter wanted her to sign away her father's company and property, and Dennis was helping him. At that moment, she heard the bathroom door open. Peter was coming out. Flourish quickly locked the phone and placed it back on the couch, pretending to be looking for something under the table. Sweetheart, what are you doing? Oh, Flourish smiled, trying to sound calm. I thought I dropped my earring. He nodded and went into the bedroom. Flourish sat quietly, her heart beating fast. She knew she couldn't act yet, not until she had proof. That night, after Peter fell asleep, she picked up her own phone and took pictures of every chat, document, and voice note she could find. Then she sent them all to her email and to Dosin with a short message. If anything happens to me, use this as evidence. When she finished, she sat on the bed, shaking. Tears rolled down her cheeks. In one day, her perfect life had turned into a nightmare. The next morning, she dressed carefully and went about her day as if nothing had happened. Peter smiled and kissed her cheek before leaving for the office. See you later, my love, he said sweetly. Flourish forced a smile. See you too. As soon as he left, she picked up her phone and whispered, Dose, I found everything. He's planning to take everything from me. Dosin's voice trembled. Flourish, listen to me. Go to the police. Don't wait another day. Flourish nodded, even though her tears filled her eyes. I will, she said softly, but I need to be careful. Peter is dangerous. She hung up and sat quietly. Her hands were cold, but her mind was clear.
Flourish sat in her car that morning, her heart still heavy. She looked at the tall gate of her house and whispered to herself, I have to be smart. I can't let him know that I know. She took a deep breath and drove off, pretending to go for a business meeting. But instead, she went straight to the nearby police station. Inside the small office, the air was cool and serious. An officer at the front desk looked up and asked, Good morning, madam. How can we help you? Flourish hesitated for a moment, then said softly, I need to speak with Inspector Jato. It's urgent. The officer nodded and led her to a quiet office at the back. Inspector Jato was a tall man with kind eyes but a firm voice. He looked at Flourish carefully and said, Madam, what's wrong? Flourish's voice shook a little as she explained everything, the secret calls, the fake documents, and the messages she found on Peter's phone. She showed him all the screenshots she had saved. When she finished, Inspector Jato sighed deeply. "Madam Flourish," he said, "this is serious. From what I see here, your husband and that boy are planning to steal your property, but it could be more dangerous than you think." Flourish's eyes filled with tears. "He used to love me. I trusted him with everything." Inspector Jato leaned forward and said, "And that's why you must be very careful. Act like you know nothing. Let him believe his plan is still working. We will protect you, but we need him to make his move first." Flourish nodded slowly. "So, what should I do?" "Go on with your normal life," he said. "If he asks you to sign anything, don't argue. Just tell us before you do. We'll be watching." Flourish thanked him and left the station quietly. Her hands trembled as she drove home, but her heart felt a little stronger. She wasn't alone anymore. That evening, Peter came home smiling, holding flowers. "My queen, I'm sorry I've been busy lately. I just want to make it up to you." He hugged her tightly. His smile looked warm, but she could feel the coldness behind it. She hugged him back, pretending to be happy. Later that night, as they sat together watching TV, Peter turned to her. "Flourish," he said softly, "there's some land paper I need you to sign tomorrow at the bank. It's just for company records. You trust me, right?" Flourish's heart stopped for a second. Then she smiled sweetly and said, "Of course I do." Peter kissed her hand. "That's my girl." When he turned away, her smile faded. She looked toward the window, her mind racing. Tomorrow was the day, and she would be ready. The next morning, Flourish woke up early. She stood before the mirror, brushing her hair slowly. Her face looked calm, but her heart was heavy like stone. She chose a simple blue dress and tied a scarf around her neck. When Peter came out of the bathroom, he smiled and said, "You look beautiful, my love. Today will be quick. Just sign some papers and we'll be done." Flourish smiled back. "All right, I'm ready." They got into the car together. David sat in the front seat, looking nervous. Flourish noticed his hands shaking slightly as he adjusted the side mirror. She said nothing. As the car rolled down the main road, Flourish secretly texted Inspector Jato. "Flourish, we're on our way to the bank now." Inspector Jato: "Understood. Stay calm, we are nearby." She turned off her phone quickly before Peter could notice. The drive felt long. Peter played music and tapped his fingers on the steering wheel. He looked relaxed, like a man who already won. But Flourish's eyes stayed sharp, watching everything. When they arrived at the bank, Peter held her hand tightly as they walked in. "Just smile," he whispered. "Don't ask questions, okay?" Inside the manager's office, a man in a black suit was waiting. He stood up and shook Peter's hand. "Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Peters. I'm Agent K." Flourish felt a chill run through her. She had seen his name in the messages. Agent K smiled politely and said, "We just need your signature here, madam. Routine transfer papers for the company." He slid a file toward her. The papers looked official, but she noticed something strange. Her father's name was on top, and the new owner's name said Peter Adeyemi. Her heart thudded, but she stayed calm. "Can I take a quick look first?" she asked softly. Peter's smile tightened. "Flourish, it's nothing serious. Just sign. We are wasting time." Flourish picked up the pen slowly. Her fingers shook, not from fear, but from the power of knowing what she now held in her hand. Then suddenly, she heard footsteps outside. The door opened. 2 policemen entered the room, followed by Inspector Jato. "Good morning," he said firmly. "Nobody moves." Peter's face went pale. "What is this?" he shouted. Flourish stayed seated, her eyes calm. "I think you should ask the inspector that," she said quietly. Inspector Jato held up a file and said, "Mr. Peter Adeyemi, you are under arrest for fraud, forgery, and attempted harm against your wife." Peter's voice shook. "What nonsense! She's lying!" But he dropped a folder of printed screenshots on the table. All the chats, voice notes, and fake documents. Agent Tay tried to slip toward the door, but the policeman blocked his path. Flourish finally stood up and said softly, "I told you I trusted you, but maybe I was wrong." Peter looked at her speechless. He tried to speak, but no words came out. As they handcuffed him, he turned to Flourish with tears in his eyes. "Flourish, please, I can explain." She looked at him sadly. "No need. The truth has already spoken for you." The police station was quiet that evening. Flourish sat in a small waiting room, her fingers locked together. Her heart was still racing from everything that happened at the bank. She could hear voices in the next room, Inspector Jato questioning Peter and Agent Key. Then another sound joined in, quiet sobbing. It was David. Inspector Jato stepped out and said gently, "Madame Flourish, the boy wants to talk to you." Flourish followed him inside. David sat at the corner of the table, his head bent low. His eyes were red and swollen. He looked nothing like the cheerful houseboy who once hummed while cleaning the living room. When he saw her, he started crying again. "Auntie Flourish, please forgive me," he said, his voice shaking. "I didn't mean to hurt you." Flourish's throat tightened. "Why, David? Why did you do it?" He wiped his tears with trembling hands. "Oga Peter said if I didn't help him, he would send me away and make sure I never got another job. He promised me money too. I swear I didn't know it would go this far." Flourish looked at him, her eyes soft but full of sadness. "What exactly did he ask you to do?" David hesitated, then whispered, "He told me to add something into your tea so you'd feel weak. He said it wasn't poison, just something to make you sleepy. That way, you wouldn't notice when he took the documents to sign." Inspector Jato frowned. "Do you still have the substance?" David nodded quickly. "Yes, sir, it's in my bag. I didn't use it, I couldn't. I felt guilty." Flourish's throat glistened with tears. "Thank you for not doing it," she said quietly. David fell to his knees. "I'm sorry, ma, I was foolish. I didn't mean to betray you." Inspector Jato placed a hand on his shoulder. "Get up, son. What matters now is that you have told the truth. That's your first step toward making things right." Flourish sighed deeply. She was hurt, but she also felt pity. David was young and had been used. As she turned to leave, she heard Peter shouting angrily from the next room, "Lies! All of it! She's setting me up!" Flourish stopped at the door. She didn't go inside. She just said softly, "Sometimes, truth sounds like a lie to those who live in lies." Then she walked away. Outside the station, Flourish looked up at the sky. For the first time in a long while, she felt safe. Not happy yet, but safe. She knew the road ahead would still be long. There will be court cases, news stories, and questions from people who once admired them. But she also knew something Peter didn't. She still had her courage, her name, and her father's legacy. And those were worth more than anything he had tried to steal.